Hello Keeper Longevity Lifestyle Designers, this is Gavin here with secretsoflongevity.com. Today I just wanted to give you a simple video of my top 5 favorite supplements for me personally. However, I take these as they are generally things that most people could use because they're some of the most common deficiencies that people find themselves experiencing. And you often hear me saying I'm not a big fan of isolated supplements or supplements that are not derived from whole foods, and actually a number of these are food-based nutrients, even if they are isolated. However, there are one or two on here that are not from food sources. So let's start right off the bat with the number one deficiency of any mineral or vitamin in people. If we were to look by what the ideal amount is that people should be taking in and where most people's levels are at, is magnesium. You hear people throwing around things, this is more the medical mainstream ideology that iron is more deficient in some people, or B12 or things like that. But really when you look at what people should be getting compared to what they are getting and kind of ignoring the RDA, you see magnesium as being the major one because even the RDA is way below what we should be getting. And with larger doses of magnesium, we see drastic increases in a whole wide range of youth-preserving hormones, from DHEA to even testosterone and progesterone. It is extremely beneficial for every muscle in the body. It helps relax and make sure that the muscles can contract and relax with greater ease, because the magnesium helps for the relaxation part. You need calcium for the contraction. More people are deficient in magnesium than calcium, so you're getting the contraction, but there's not that opposite effect happening in enough abundance through the body, so you end up with tense muscles in places. So it's not always just stress of day-to-day life that can cause tense muscles and the problems that come from that, but a lack of magnesium. And one of the big indicators that you need to be taking in magnesium is if when you take a little bit, you start noticing you get muscle twitches all over your body. Over the last month or so, I've started taking magnesium bisglycinate, and this is not a food-derived supplement, but it is so usable by the body in a bisglycinate form. If you can't get the bisglycinate around you, usually any form that's ending in 8 is quite absorbable. I definitely would recommend the bisglycinate because it is recommended by a lot of these top doctors who talk about magnesium deficiency and how prevalent it is nowadays. And that seems to be the cutting edge one at the moment. Magnesium oil is great as well. I highly recommend using that as a topical way of taking it in to use on injuries, to have around just for that. Sometimes if I'm really restless and having trouble sleeping, I'll put it on because it's very relaxing, because you're putting it directly on the muscles as opposed to doing it orally. It takes time to get into your bloodstream and get to all the tissues. But with the oil, you can put it right on, and within minutes I find I've noticed my body relaxing in that place. You can find a link below to get magnesium oil if that's something that interests you from Hyperion Herbs. You can avoid some of the problems that might come with superdosing it with the bowels. I've noticed if I go even right up to double the dose that the bottle says, or even, I've yet to go further than that within one day, but even just right at the double amount, it says to take 4 a day, I've gone to 7 and 8, I found it does start getting things flowing pretty fast through you. And that's just because it has that relaxation effect. So if you imagine the smooth muscles in your digestive system all relaxing, stuff's going to go right through you. However, at that 8 capsules a day amount, I'm still getting the muscle twitches, which means I'm still slightly deficient, which means I could also try other ways of putting it on topically. Of course you want to increase your food intake. However, you need to eat a ton of greens and a ton of nuts and seeds every day to really make sure you're getting that amount. And while I eat a varied diet and consume things that are rich in magnesium, I'm pretty sure I'm still not getting enough. And that's due to a variety of factors. It could be stress of life, it could be depleted soils, etc. And taking a magnesium supplement on the daily doesn't hurt. It can be very beneficial. Number 2 on my list, and I've taken this for years, really depends on the day. Obviously through summer I take less of it, and if I have a day where I'm out in the sun for a long time, I don't take it at all. But usually even on days that I do get out a little bit in the sun, I still take it, just in a lower amount. Through the winter, of course, I take it daily at the 6,000 to 8,000 IUs a day range. That might sound a lot to some people. However, in a day of full sun exposure, you can make up to 20,000 international units of vitamin D per day. So taking that amount can actually be beneficial. Perhaps if you're a smaller person, you'd want to scale that back a bit. And if we were to be very conservative, I'd say you're safe at the 2,000 to 4,000 range. And anyone that wants to go beyond that, definitely consult with a physician and do your own research and see what's probably ideal for you. Most people are deficient in vitamin D, and it's just like magnesium, such a profoundly important nutrient for every single cell and virtually every function of the body. So you need to be getting that in there to prevent a wide range of diseases from happening and becoming chronic illnesses later on in your life. And those of us who work indoors, which is the vast majority of us, even though we might be getting outside, getting that good sun exposure, much of the time we need to supplement in addition to it. I take lanolin, vitamin D3, definitely take vitamin D3, not D2, and that's an extract from sheep's wool. That's a food source in the sense that it's a biological thing, it's not a mineral, so that's the ideal form of it. Cod liver oil extracts can be decent as well, but the important thing there is that it's vitamin D3. Next up that I take very regularly is lutein. Now this is just something I personally take because of slight eye deterioration. Might not be the most important thing for a lot of people who have great vision. However, a lot of people have bad vision, and with the increase of stress on our eyes with computer screens and things, it's more and more important to make sure you're getting these things that help preserve the eyes. And in most lutein supplements, you also have zeaxanthin in there. Both of those are great for the eyes. Both of those are carotenoids. And for example, the one I'm taking is an extract of marigold flowers. And your body holds on to carotenoids and they build up in the skin and things, so it's impossible to overdose on them because your body just builds them up and stores them. However, with the dosage that comes with that, it's a very standard dose. My body's using that and helping maintain my eye health, if not improve it a little bit. And there's been a lot of research on how profound carotenoids have a beneficial effect on longevity. The longest lived people always have healthy carotenoid levels, and that's a range of different carotenoids. Obviously, beta-carotene is a big one. Lutein's a great one. You also get that in things like tomatoes, but also zeaxanthin. And another one, which is going to be fourth on my list, is astaxanthin. That is one that is found in mostly seafood, from fish and shrimp that eat the small plankton and algae that contains zeaxanthin. It's increasingly a very common supplement. And I've seen products that are sourced usually from two different places, one being from krill and the other being from the algae that the krill get it from. So I always say go to the source, get it from algae based. So astaxanthin is amazing for the eyes. It's very preventative to free radical damage to a whole number of tissues in the body. And just like I said, all those carotenoids, we build up in our bodies. They're great antioxidants. And what more reason do you need besides that? Some food sources of it would be things like marine phytoplankton, that's sort of the big one. But of course, eating lots of seafood that has that rich pink color, from shrimp to salmon, those are mild sources. But really, to get a good, solid, consistent dose, supplementation is a pretty good way to go about doing that. Last but not least on the list is number 5, and this is going to be something that I'm not actually taking yet, which you might think is kind of weird, but I'm very interested in taking it, and I have good reason to. And even though it's something I know I get in a decent amount of my diet, I'm obviously not getting enough because I have one symptom that indicates that I'm not getting enough of that, and that is K2. Vitamin K2 is made from vitamin K1 by bacteria in the guts of animals, so grass grazing animals generally. Virtually the only plant food with any decent amount of it is going to be natto, which is made from soy. We want to avoid soy, so that's out of the question anyways. If you are vegan or vegetarian, a K2 supplement would definitely be highly recommended. But if you are eating animal foods, you might want to consider it anyways, just because if you think you still have some of the symptoms of low K2. So that symptom for me is getting plaque on my teeth at this point in time, even though I've continued with the consumption of virtually only pastured animal foods at this point. And increasingly I'm seeing a combo of vitamin D and K2 in supplement form on the shelves in health food stores, so that's a really easy way of getting both of those into your diet, and there's really no reason not to take it unless you are very confident that you have enough of vitamin K2. So of course some food sources are going to be pastured dairy, especially around the time of the year where the grass is growing fastest, from May to late June. Then of course fermented cod liver oil is a big one. Various organ meats from land animals, A lot of different seafoods can have some amount of it. And of course, muscle tissue from land grazing animals will have a very small amount of it, but that just helps contribute to it. It gets stored in the fat. And also eggs from pasture chickens will have a certain amount of it as well in the yolk. So that's my top 5. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Also let me know perhaps a supplement that you take that I didn't list here. Of course, it comes as a recommendation to check in with the right testing to see if you're deficient in these things. However, some of them, we have these indicators if we're deficient in something or not, like the magnesium. You might even say with vitamin D, although there's not really any one specific symptom that we can notice right off the bat of mild deficiency. It's usually down the road, long term, you end up with things like cancer, which is a clear indication of vitamin D deficiency. Things like hair mineral analysis are great for knowing what vitamins you're deficient in. Getting SpectraCell analysis is good for knowing what vitamins and sometimes minerals you're deficient in, which is where they take a blood sample, but they also burst open the blood cells that carry nutrients to see what nutrients you're actually absorbing. So also check out the link below for the magnesium oil if you're interested in that. And like, favorite, and share the video if you feel so inclined. So with that, take care and embrace life without limits.